y'all, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing what I pack in my husband's lunchbox. So if you're new here, my husband is a truck driver, so I enjoy packing up his lunches for the most part for several different reasons. In his line of work, it's not always so easy to take a lunch break, especially because he doesn't have access to a microwave or refrigerator, anything like that. So I do this just to try to make his days go a little bit more smooth. It definitely saves him time and money. And I know that I don't pack the healthiest of lunches. I pack what he likes, but it does prevent him from eating fast food every single day, which I'm sure is easy to do. He gets all of the restaurant discounts, but we all know how easy it is to get burnt out on that. So in this video, I will include 5 lunchbox ideas, and I hope that it can be helpful for anyone out there who's looking for some different ideas. Okay, so first up, I had some leftover rotisserie chicken in my fridge that I know I wanted to use. This was left over from that chicken cordon bleu soup that I made in my last video. I also have these wonton wrappers that I really need to use. So I decided on some air fryer buffalo chicken wontons. So I just transferred that chicken to a small mixing bowl, and I'm using my hand mixer to shred it up a little bit better. I'm going to add in about a tablespoon of some ranch seasoning, and I'm also going to drizzle in some Frank's buffalo sauce. I'm going to throw in about a 1/4 cup of some shredded sharp cheddar cheese, and I'm going to do a spoonful of some Philadelphia cream cheese. I did microwave it for about 20 seconds to soften it, just plopped it right on in, and again, with my hand mixer, I'm just going to mix that until everything is good and combined. So this right here is the perfect consistency, and you can do so many things with it. In this little bowl, I have a little egg wash. It's just 1 large egg that I have beaten well with just a tiny amount of water. And here's a closer up look of the wonton wraps. So I just have a big piece of wax paper out so that I can work on it. And now I'm just going to start assembling it. So I'm just going to do a tiny spoonful of that buffalo chicken mixture in the middle. You definitely don't want to overstuff it, or else when you cook it, everything is just going to kind of ooze out the sides. These are pretty small. And then as you can see, I'm just taking that little egg wash, and with my finger, I am just running it around the edges. And then you just simply fold it up into a triangle and pinch the seams together, and it's just very simple. So here's the plate of all of them after I got them all stuffed. It does make quite a bit. And to my air fryer baskets, I just sprayed them with some nonstick cooking spray first. I also preheated these baskets first at 375 for about 5 minutes. And I was pretty cautious the first go around of doing the batches, so I only did 4 per basket. But you can definitely fit more in there. I was just nervous about overcrowding it, but I'll show y'all in a second how many you can actually fit. But I am going to cook these at 375 degrees for 3 minutes on one side. And then when that timer goes off, I'm going to go in and flip those. The tongs weren't working quick enough for me, and I don't recommend doing it with your hands, but sometimes that is just what's easiest for me. So I'm just getting all of those flipped over, and I am going to spray them with the nonstick cooking spray just to really crisp them up, make them nice and golden brown. And they are going to go back in at 375 for 2 more minutes. So these do cook up very quickly. And here's that second batch, and I'm just showing y'all how many can actually fit. So here was what they look like once I got them all cooked up. They are perfectly golden brown and crispy, and I had a few of these myself, and they are absolutely delicious. You don't have to make these just for lunchbox. Think the Super Bowl that's coming up. I would gladly serve these to all of my friends. So now I'm going to serve it up for Josh to take to work, and I'm putting it in his Lunch Ease lunchbox. I'm fitting as many in here as I felt necessary. These are kind of on the small side, and I just knew that he would love them. But if you've never heard of the Lunch Ease box, it is a self-heating cordless lunchbox. So you just charge it up like the night before. I can set the time for him, and it'll be nice and hot when it's time for his lunch. It starts heating up like 2 hours before the time that I set, so he doesn't have to do anything. I did also lower the temperature for this specific meal because I didn't want to overcook the wonton shells, I guess is what you call it. But I just placed that in the insulated bag it comes with, and if anyone is interested in this, I do have a code for free shipping, and I'll have all of those details in my description box. But now I'm going to start packing up the cold part. I gave him a cup of ranch to dip his buffalo chicken wontons in. I also gave him a big bowl of grapes, some green and red, just a little fridge clean out. I'm going to give him a small bag of Funyuns. I'm just placing that in the little pocket in the top part of the lunchbox. I'm also going to throw in a blueberry Greek yogurt. Can't forget the spoon. And then lastly, I'm going to give him this Little Debbie snowflake brownie. That's the last of our little Christmas treats we had lingering in the house. As for drinks, I'm going to give him a Gatorade Zero. He does have a little iceless cooler in his truck that he keeps in there. It plugs into the cigarette lighter that he can pop that in and keep it cold. And then he has a big Stanley full of water. Next, I'm going to put this little sides container in the main compartment, and I'm going to fill it with the last of the broccoli cheddar soup. I shared this recipe in my last video. I will link it in my description box just in case you missed it and want the recipe. It is amazing. I promise you, it is the best broccoli cheddar soup recipe. There's not many ways I can get Josh to eat broccoli, but this is one of them. He absolutely loved it. And in the side, I'm going to add in some Texas barbecue. I made this a few months back and I froze the leftovers. I know that it doesn't look good right here, but I didn't heat it up or anything. I just thawed it overnight, dumped it in, but it's really easy. It's just a chuck roast in a crock pot with a packet of chili seasoning. I remember I used the Kinder's one and some Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce. Cook it on low for 8 hours, shred it up, and serve it on buns, and it's just a really good, easy dinner that we love. So I did decide to put the little lid on the sides container just in case it spilled. I didn't want it leaking into the barbecue, but I got the lid added on, and I'm going to give him a hamburger bun for the barbecue. I'm going to put it in a Ziploc bag. That was technically enough to make 2 sandwiches, but I asked him, and he only wanted one, and he just ate what was left over like on his own. So I'm going to get that sealed up, and then in the top compartment, I'm going to, store the hamburger bun up there, and I also cut him up some fresh kiwis. That is one of his favorite fruits, and then we had some blueberries that needed to go, so I just went ahead and added that in there as well, and I'm just adding it to this glass divided container. I'm pretty sure I got that at Big Lots a few years back. It came in a pack of 2, but I accidentally recently broke the second one, so I had to toss it sadly. But I gave him a fork for his sandwiches, and I'm throwing in a couple snacks, just an apple cinnamon cereal bar and a chocolate chip granola bar. And I did forget the ice pack in these clips, but after I got done filming, I did throw it in there, so don't worry. And then in the side, he's getting a cherry Coke Zero, and then, of course, his water to drink. For this lunch, I'm going to pack him up some leftover chili. I cooked this in the crock pot, and it will be in my next video. It is a very basic recipe. We used it as a topping for baked potatoes, but I knew when I was cooking it, I wanted to also use it for some chili cheese dogs. So these are the ones I buy the most, the ballpark bun-sized beef ones, and if you are not cooking your hot dogs in an air fryer, you are missing out. They turn out just like they would on a grill. It is so good. I just cooked these at 400 degrees for 5 minutes, super quick. So those are the 2 things that I will want heated for him. So I'm going to get that packed up, and then in the little cool compartment, I'm going to need to get him some hot dog buns. So I am going to give him 2, and I'm using that same Ziploc bag that I used for the hamburger buns for the day before. So repurpose the bag, and I'm also going to give him a little cup of some shredded sharp cheddar cheese that I shredded myself. You can't have a chili dog without the cheese, right? And I love these little cups that I get from Walmart with the lid. I'm always talking about it. Super cheap, comes in a big pack. And I'm also going to give him a small bag of these chili cheese Fritos. Those always go good with chili dogs. And then I'm going to give him some fresh strawberries that I washed and cut. And I'm going to give him the last of these chocolate covered pretzels that have been hanging out in my pantry for a little bit too long. Strawberries and chocolate always go so good together, and this just makes me really look forward to February and all things Valentine's Day. I love all the red and pink and chocolate. I have just always been a sucker for that. But I'm going to get that lid added on, and this container was a little bit too big for me to be able to fit the hot dog buns in there as well. So I was trying to figure out a way of putting it in there without smushing it, and then I just decided to, put it on top of the lunchbox, and, he can carry it. It's not the end of the world. And then I'm just packing up his Coke Zero and his water, and he keeps a big bag of drink mixes in his truck if he wants to add any. Next up, I'm going to make Josh some cheesy chicken and rice. Just using this box of creamy 4-cheese rice-a-roni and a boneless, skinless chicken breast. So when I go to the store and I buy a big family pack of chicken breast, I like to take it home and freeze it in packs of 2 per bag. So this particular family pack of chicken had an odd number of chicken in it, and I didn't want to freeze just 1 chicken breast because, it does take 2 to make a meal for my family of 4 as of right now anyways. So I just figured that I would do something for Josh's lunchbox with that chicken breast. As you can see, I got it all trimmed up, got all the fat and all the nasty parts removed, and then I'm just chopping it into little bite-sized pieces. Now, as for that rice-a-roni, I'm not sure if I've ever bought that particular one before. That's not something I buy often at all. It's been many years, but Kroger has had a sale on those as well as the pasta-ronis lately, and I've gave them another try, and we love them. I can see why they are such a big hit. So anyways, to a large skillet, I just heated up a little olive oil. I dumped in all of my chicken, and I'm going to be seasoning it with this Cheddar blackened seasoning. It has all the seasonings I would want in this in one bottle, so I seasoned it pretty generously. I did end up adding in some extra black pepper here in a little bit, mostly for like the looks of it. I wanted to look, more appealing. But anyways, I like to stir it around in the beginning to get all of those seasonings distributed a little bit better. And then I just leave it alone for a few minutes so that it can create like a nice sear, a nice crust. And then I'll go back in, toss it around, let the other side get that way. And when it's fully cooked, I'm going to remove that with my slotted spatula into a separate bowl. It didn't take long at all for this to cook up. And I'm just going to leave all of that oil and all that good stuff behind in the skillet. So I'm going to set that to the side. I'm going to add a couple tablespoons of butter to my skillet, as well as a big spoonful of just some jarred minced garlic. And I'm going to let the garlic and the butter cook together for at least a minute. And I'm trying to scrape up some of those little flavorful bits from the bottom. But we'll worry about that here in a little bit. I'm going to dump in the box of rice-a-roni and just toast that up for a few minutes. I'm not going to add in the seasoning yet. That goes in at the end. And it calls for 2 1/4 cups of water on the back. I had an open container of chicken broth in my fridge that I wanted to use first. So I had about 1.5 cups of that, and then I filled it the rest of the way up with water to get the amount that I needed. So as soon as I added that into the skillet, all of that kind of deglazed from the bottom and lifted up so everything is nice and flavorful. I brought it up to a boil, covered it, lowered it, and I let it cook for whatever the box said. I don't remember exactly. I think it was maybe like 20 minutes. So when it was done, I did test it to make sure it was tender, and it was. So I went ahead and threw in that seasoning packet and just tossed it all together, and that's all there was to it. So now I'm going to pack it on up for Josh. I did end up giving him most of it. I wanted it to be really filling because I knew that I wasn't going to throw in a whole ton of other like little snacks to go with it. So I gave him a good amount of that rice-a-roni, and then I'm going to dump all of that cooked and seasoned chicken over the top. One of Josh's favorite meals has always been chicken and rice, so I like to find all kinds of different ways to give that to him. So I'm going to give him a spoon, of course, and that will be nice and hot and steamy when he's ready to eat it. So to go along with it, I've got my ice pack added to the top, and in my little divided container, I did slice him up a Cara orange. That is our favorite type of orange. It is seasonal, and I always love when I can get my hands on it. And I paired it with the last of these double dark chocolate Milano cookies. Very good. Dark chocolate and oranges always go really good together as well. So got that lid snapped on, and that's all I gave him for this day. Not every day that he works is like super long, especially in the winter. He can have a few like slower days, which is exactly how this day went. So I didn't worry about a whole ton of snacks. Josh and I both love a good chicken salad, so I wanted to try out a different variation. It's very simple. It's going to be a dill pickle chicken salad. So I've had this pack of canned chicken in my pantry for a bit. I've been working on kind of going through what I have, and this is what I wanted to do with it. So I drained it, threw it in the bowl, and kind of shredded it up better with my fork. And I'm going in and seasoning it with some salt, pepper, garlic powder, and some dry dill. You could definitely use some fresh dill if you wanted to. And I'm just giving that a good stir, making sure those seasonings are getting mixed all throughout. And then I'm going to go in with a hefty amount of mayo. These are the pickles that I'm going to be using. I did add in a splash of the dill pickle juice, and I'm going to stir it to coat, just kind of making sure it's nice and creamy. I was trying to see here if I needed to add anything else. I didn't think that it needed it. So I grabbed a handful of those pickles, and I'm just going to go in and kind of cut them in half. For the bigger ones, I'll cut in quarters, and then I'm going to go in and just dice it up into small pieces. I've had this big jar of pickles in my fridge I've been trying to work through. Like I said, I've really been trying to just use up what I have because I want to go on a Costco shopping trip, and I just don't have the space to shop the way that I want to. So that's been my goal. And I do plan on filming a Costco grocery haul when I get around to going. So anyways, I dumped in all of those pickles, and I'm being sure to get those mixed all throughout, and that's all there is to it. The longer this sits in the fridge, the better that it is going to taste. It is really good and very few ingredients. You just can't beat it. This would be amazing with some like buttery, fresh croissants. I didn't have any, but Josh really likes his with Ritz crackers, so here in a little bit, I'm going to give him a whole sleeve of it to eat as many as he wants. Whatever's left, he can leave in his truck. And I just put it in this little divided Pyrex container that I got at TJ Maxx. That's a great place to shop for, storage containers at a great price. I've had this one for a few years. It's held up great. I also gave him a couple pepper jack cheese squares. We love that for a snack. It's just the great value ones. And again, I cut him up a couple fresh kiwis. I think that this looks amazing. This type of lunch is right up my alley. I would definitely love to have that. So I gave him a fork just in case he wanted it for the chicken salad. And I also just made up a quick boxed muffin mix, the blueberry one. My son has been requesting that. So I just figured I could throw in a couple for Josh as well for his dessert. So I'm just putting that in a little sandwich bag, just squeezing out the air. And that's all I packed him food-wise. He is going to get his regular drinks, his Coke Zero, his water. I did want to show y'all our current favorite drink mix is this Welch's Strawberry Peach. It is too good. So I'm not really sure where all of her normal ice packs are. I'm pretty sure they're on the porch in a cooler. I need to bring those in, but I just used some of the little ice packs that came with my kids' lunch boxes. And this is the Carhartt lunchbox that I ordered him from Amazon a few years ago. I don't even know how long it's been, but it's been a great lunchbox, and I can link it. But that's all I got for y'all in today's video. I really hope that y'all enjoyed it. I hope that it was helpful. I want to thank y'all so much for watching, and I will see y'all in my next one.